Hi guys, welcome to video part 2 of Mesquite brown sugar ribs. Let's take a look of the ribs that we have in here. Look how gorgeous they are, really gorgeous. Now the sauce that you see in there, I'm going to use some of that for the sauce. So what we have left on the timer, I just want to show you this, will be 4 hours and 52 minutes. Now we're not going to use that whole 4 hours and 52 minutes of this because we don't need it. In fact, we could put it on warm if we really wanted to. But I'm not going to do that just yet. So I had done some potatoes as you see here, and I'm mashing them up. We want to get all this goodness all mashed up. And yes, I left the skin on them because I love the skin on my mashed potatoes. I'm weird like that. Trust me. But they're not going to be ordinary mashed potatoes. I'm going to do a cheesy onion mashed potatoes. So what I got here is some cubed Colby and Monterey Jack cheese. And then I also got these French crispy fried onions that I'm going to be using in it. We also have butter, which I'm going to use the whole thing. And then we got some milk to make it a little bit creamy, which is a good thing because we need it creamy. And then after everything is said and done, I will be placing it in the oven at 350 degrees for it to bake and get all that cheesiness on it. Now, here's what I propose. I don't like mashed potatoes smooth. I like mine like have little bits of chunks in it. I don't like mashed potatoes very smooth, but that's what I'm gonna be doing. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and add the butter. But instead of adding it like that, I'm gonna cut it into like chunks so that way it would melt faster and melt a little bit better. So I'm going to cut them like this and just stick them in there randomly. Can't even talk today. Sorry, guys. This is like the third video I did today and trying to catch up on videos. So I'm kind of tongue-tied here. But that's okay. I don't mind. So I am going ahead and letting this butter just melt in there with that. Now you want some seasoning too on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some salt and pepper to it. Just get all this mixed up. In fact, I don't need a fork anymore. I'm going to use a spoon to mix and stir all this up. So let's see. Butter is melting good in there, looking good and gorgeous. So next, what we're gonna add is some milk. The milk is like a combining sensation for this. So we just make it creamy if you want like it creamy, like a lot of people do. I like mine like with lumps in it, but creamy at the same time. I'm not big fan on just potatoes themselves, but I'll eat certain ways of potatoes. There's different ways of doing it, and like I said, a lot of people knows how to make mashed potatoes. I'm one of them that does, loves, and does, but I'm trying to get this as creamy, and the milk cools it down along with the butter, so it's gonna be reheated. It's fine. We just want that smooth chunkiness to it. So the butter is all melted, and we're just going to keep adding milk until it gets to the consistency that we want it. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add this. And we're just going to fold that in. Now, I know some cheese is going to be probably not melting there very well, but we're just going to sprinkle some of this cheese in here. And I'm going to put it back on the stove. So that way it can start heating up and melting again. And getting that nice cheesiness to it. Oops, sorry guys. Put right there. And I'm hoping that this cheese will melt. Because if it don't, then we's in trouble. But I'm gonna add a little bit more milk to this to make it more milky, to help out with it. And I think I'm gonna have to add the whole bag of cheese to this. So this is going to be turned up and add it into this. We're just gonna add the whole bag of cheese. They're cube cheeses. So they look like this. They're in cubes. You can use any kind of cheese that you want. I'm using, like I said, Monterey Jack and Colby for this potatoes. And I'm just folding the cheese in with the potatoes and letting it melt, or try to get it in there melting to make it cheesy. If I had string cheese, I would use it. Shredded cheese, I mean. So, whip, whip, whip. So while that is doing it, add just some more milk. I might just be using this whole thing of milk for this, and that's okay. That is very much okay. This might take a few minutes to start melting the cheese, but hey, that's what we're gonna have to do, is let it melt. Now, let me get these out of the way here. While that's doing that, I am going to go ahead and get the ribs out. Set them on a paper plate so they can drain, so I can get what I need out of the sauce that it had produced, or juices that it had produced, to make the sauce that we need. So, as you can tell, like I showed you before, look how good that is. Yummy. Well, since they fall off the bone here, we're just gonna let them, really good. Falling off the bone. Falling off the bone. Sorry. Being so nuts. Alright, so as you can tell, that's the juices. We're not probably using all the juices for it, but we're going to use somewhat of it. You see all the nice chicken flavored water and the seasonings and the garlic. Yeah. Yummy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. So I'm just going to move these out of the way real quick, because I got to tend to the potatoes too. So I'm just stirring this. Cheese is starting to melt, which is a good sign. We don't want this to burn, because it would not be any good if it did. But the cheese is starting to melt. I'm going to add more milk in here. I'll just add the rest in there to make it creamier than ever. Let the milk evaporate, and the cheese in there goes very smoothly. Look, cream potato. Basically, that's what it's gonna be. It's like a cream potato, but I need to turn that down because it wants to splash now. Cheese is not really melting that very well. They don't look like it, but when you stir it up, you can see the discoloration that the cheese is melting from it. So we're just gonna keep that in there. This is like like cream of potato soup instead, because I put too much milk, but that's okay because that's what I was going for. I just want the cheese to melt, because once this melts, I'm gonna put stuff over it and it'll be good. Now for the sauce we are going to need is the rest of the sauce mixture, sugar, just in case you need it. I'm gonna need a pan. Maybe not that big of a pan. Need maybe a small saucepan. Let's see if I got one. I am so not prepared for this video, but I know where it's at. It's in my dishwasher. Now, you're going to make some kind of glaze over this, which is really good because it's what you want. Now, I know you guys say mashed potatoes and not a little too mashy. Looks like cream of potatoes. Yes, it is cream of potatoes. But it will have that hint of cheesiness to it. And this is what it looks like. With the skin. I love the skin on it. So that's why it looks like that. Look how good that is. Looks like potato soup. Alright, so now that the cheese has literally melted in this, well, almost, we're going to add some salt and pepper to this. Because always good with salt and pepper on everything. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this up. This is what I call mashed potatoes, cream of potatoes. Crazy, right? Like I said, I do mashed potatoes different ways. I have my ways of doing it. And this is another way of my creation of doing mashed potatoes. I'm actually going to add a little bit more salt and pepper to this. You don't want to overdo it because you don't want it too peppery and you don't want it too salty, but you want to get to taste. So that's what I'm doing. So now I got the cheese in here. And I got my seasonings. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to try this. We're going to try to see how this is. I'm so excited. Like, it looks like cream of potatoes, but it's not. Actually, it's good. Can't taste the cheese, but that's okay. Because I have another idea with that. I'm going to try to use Velveeta cheese. That will melt in here. Just melt. Sometimes a lot of people like it a little bit cheesier. Some people don't like it as cheesy. But the color is great. The color is nice. And we want that. So we're just going to break that up. Stir that cheese in here. Like real quickly. I mean, it will melt. It will melt. Just give it time. It's still pretty much hot. And we don't want it too cheesy. So the salt and pepper has a great taste to it. I think 3 of these should do it. And then we're going to put it in a baking dish. And then we're going to crush up some of those fries. Well, I call fries, but onions, fried onions. And we're going to put it in there, bake. And it would be yummy. basically you're just like getting all the yumminess and the goodness in here. And it doesn't matter. Like I said, I left the pills on. You don't have to leave the pills or anything on it. But I did for my reasons, because it's the only way I would eat mashed potatoes, like I said. So I had made 2 other videos, part 1 video of this. So if you missed that part 1, you can go back and look at it. And I wrote down the recipe and how much you would need for it, all in the description. So you guys should be good on that. And I think I will write the description of the mashed potatoes, of what I did. The creamy mashed potatoes. Creamy cheesy onion mashed potatoes. Down at the description when I'm done with this video. And then I did a little filler video that I done about homemade cheese sticks and boxed brownies. So if you want to check that out, give that a thumbs up. You know, you're more than welcome to comment on that just as well. And I want to apologize again that these videos are kind of out of sync. I should have done them part 1, part 2 together, but I didn't. So I apologize for that. And I do apologize again for all the late videos, not doing them. Like I said, I've been super busy and I can't help being busy. So now I got a clear baking dish. And I want to bring you guys, I think, over here, because you guys do better, so you guys can see. Now, I am going to put all this cheesy goodness potatoes all in here. I don't know if that all will fit. Let's get a different dish, because I don't believe that will fit all in there. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Alright. So here we go with this. I'm just going to pour all this in here like this, as you guys can see. Yes, I know it kind of looks like grits, and it kind of looks like something else, but it's not. It's mashed potatoes, cheesy mashed potatoes in a form of grits, if that's the way you want to put it. Now, I'm not big on grits either, but that's the story for a different day. Sorry for all the noises. Okay, so now that we have our potatoes in here, I'm going to actually take some of these and get a bag. And I'm just going to take this and pour the rest of that in there. I'm just going to crush this up, because we don't want big chunks. So I'm crushing this up, because now what I'm going to do is take it and sprinkle it all over like so. It's kind of like a cake, I guess, or something that's yummy and you know it. Looks like a cake. But we're going to just dump the rest of that in there just like that. Now what I'm going to do is I will now put this in the oven and let it bake. Just for a little bit to infuse all those flavors and stuff. So we're going to set that in there. And while that's doing that, let's move on to our sauce. I'm being crazy, guys. I'm being real crazy. Okay, so now I have a small pan here. And I know it's on a big thing, but it's okay. We're going to turn that back on. I'm going to need that. And I'm going to need my whisk. Now, we are going to make something called a roux to help thicken that sauce. So what you're going to need is butter and flour. Butter and flour is a basic thing to make sauces and gravies and stuff like that. So here I got like 2 tablespoons of butter. And I'm just going to go ahead and put that in there so it can start melting. And we don't want this up on too high because it's now browning my butter. You don't want that. So what I'm going to do is wash this out because you don't need that browning. But now it looks good. It's not brownie. Sorry. Thing was a little too hot, so we got the butter. And then we're just gonna add some flour to that when the butter is all melted. And we're going to mix it up into a roux. And then I'm going to add all the other stuff and all the other ingredients and some of the sauce that we need into that. Like I said, we're not going to use all that. We just want to thicken this up and make a nice sauce to pour over the ribs. Now the ribs are resting, which is a good thing. Because you don't want to, like, you know, just slop it all in there. I'm being nuts, as always. So, I'm going to go ahead and maybe get a cup. And just ladle some of it into a cupful. Because we're not going to need a lot. And I don't want to use all of it because next, what's going to happen is I'm going to dump out the rest of it. Because we're not going to need it. We may not need all this either, but we're going to try it. So now as you see, there's fat on top. And I'm going to let this rest so that the fat that's on top, I can skim off. Because that fat came through all that pork. And we don't want the fat. So we're going to try to skim all that off and put it into this because we don't want it greasy. Now that our butter looks like it's melted, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add some flour to this real quick. I'm just going to keep adding flour as needed as I think it needs it. You don't want to make it to where it's totally lumpy, but you want to cook out the flour here. So we don't want any lumps or any flour. This is a base for a good sauce and stuff like that. It's nothing but flour and butter. This is what, like I said, is known as a roux. And I'm just adding flour in here to get it thicken up a little bit because we're going to start adding some stuff in here. And it's going to change the color and it's going to change the flavor. But we want this to not be so floury. So about 30 seconds, you want to cook it out, the flour taste, because you don't want the flour taste into your roux or into your sauce or whatever you're making, gravy, sauce, soups. You don't want to, like, literally have that flour taste. Alright, so now that I think that is good. So what I did was I used 2 teaspoons full of this to make it. Now, I'm going to show you what the roux looks like. This is what a roux looks like. Nothing but flour and butter. And I'm keeping it on low heat so I won't burn it. And then that way, when I add the other stuff that I need to add to it, won't be so hard. So what I'm going to do is take a spoon, and I'm going to try to get all this fat off it, and skimming it real quick, and putting it back in the container that the slow cooker, because we're gonna dump that out. But I don't want all this fat into it. So just give me a few seconds here. It's okay if you have a little bit of fat, but you don't want a lot of fat. So what I'm gonna do is take that off so my butter won't burn while I'm doing this. I almost forgot. I don't need it to burn. I have to start all over. Alright. It's always going to have a little bit of fat, and that's a-okay. So, as you see, I got most of the fat off. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the roux back onto the heat, and I'm just going to stir it up just a little bit. And then I'm just going to pour just a little bit of this in here. Woo. Now I'm just turning that down. Because this is the juices from this as a roux. And what I'm doing is I'm breaking up all the lumps in there. So this is like a gravy type. But we're gonna do it a different way too, because I'm gonna be adding some other ingredients to this and then tasting what I need to taste. So I used up all what was in the cup. And I'm just going to sit here, leave it on that. Now what's in here is what I put in there. The, what you call it? Garlic. Minced garlic. Sorry guys about that. Alright, so now that that is done, we're just going to add a little bit of soy sauce to it. I'm going to mix this up. Now, soy sauce has a lot of salt in it too, so you want to be careful with that. And you don't want to like overdo it because you don't want it too salty. Like I said, you might have to put more sugar to condense all the salt. So at a time, this is not really thick and you don't want it too thick. But you want it thick enough where after you dump this and put the ribs back in, you want the sauce to caramelize on it. So that's what we're doing. We're making it so it will caramelize. Now I'm going to taste it to see how it tastes and anything like that, if it's too salty or whatever. So, no, just perfect. Okay. So now to that, we're just going to add the sugar to make it like the caramelization to it. And then we're just going to stir that sugar in here. And like I said, you might need a little bit more sugar for it. You never know. We're going to just turn this up some. Now this looks like a gravy, like a thin gravy, which is what you want because it's going back into its original original place here. So I'm going to see how sweet it is now. Excellent. A little bit more sugar, and then we're good. And then I'll dump this out, place the ribs back in there, and we will be on our way. So I'm going to go ahead and add more brown sugar to this. Okay. You don't need to mix granulated sugar to it. Brown sugar is sweet enough. So, and this is going to be great. Alright, I'm going to test this one more time. Because you don't want it too sweet and you don't want it too salty. You want it just right. Okay. Yes. I think we got it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you guys over here for a second. And I got to clean up all this mess too. Sorry, guys. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to drain this. Because we don't need this anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and drain that. It still has a little juices in it, as you can tell. But that's okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bone. Alright, so what I'm going to do now for you guys is I'm going to show you the sauce. This should be good enough. It should look like this. A little caramelized and a little thick. Not too thick and not too thin. It should be just like enough to pour over there. And it should have that glossy look over it. Just like that. How beautiful it is. That's what you want. Alright, so now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and add our ribs that was falling off the bone back in here so they can heat up, keep warm, and get that flavor. Now, a lot of people say, no, whatever, it's too sweet. It's fine. You do it to the way you like it, how you want to do it. You could change up the recipe. You could use soy sauce. You could use Worcestershire sauce. You could use whatever you want that you feel like you want to make the sauce from into this. So now, I have gotten a big mess over there and got to clean up. But I'm good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take this, and I'm just going to pour this sauce all on here. Where's my tongs? And then I'm going to show you what it looks like, because it smells and looks so delicious. So delicious. Alright, so now that's done. I don't need anything else. I was just checking. And this is what it looks like. Given that light, fluffy, juicy caramelization. And it's on every rib, because I poured it and moved the ribs. See, it's just falling off the bone. That is what we want. So this is the ribs of mesquite, brown sugar, slow cooking ribs. Now that that's done, like I said, I'm not going to use the whole 4 hours left on it. What I'm going to do now is put the lid back on. And see, now it has 4 hours and 18 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and turn that off. And then I'm just going to go here and just set it, oops, wrong thing, to warm and enter it. And it will be setting. Once it's set, the flavor, the juices, the flavor will all come together. I think that is it for part 2 video. And I know I said this in part 1, but if you like this video, please subscribe, like, and comment below what you think about this. Try it, do whatever you need to do, or change it up a little bit, make it your own. But please let me know how you like it. Enjoy, and I hope you do enjoy these videos. I enjoy making them. I love you guys. Have a great night. Bye.